嗨 ，Hello， 晚上好，各位晚安，晚安。什么？安安安安，七郎七郎 ，Hello， 一次第3台，你很厉害，非常厉害，超棒的。嗨，蔡奇先生，嗨，菜菜菜菜，晚上好 ，Taxi Driver， 晚安，东北安安。新铁打完了，你说那个崩可梦吗？打完了，没事的，没事的。打完了，没事了，没事了。草米伞安安，底屁安安，嘿，就是事务所安安安安，好久不见，好久不见安安。什么赛季？无尽宇宙哦，打完了，那个早就打完了。那个无尽宇宙打起来比较爽，所以那个很快就结了。啊，只有那个崩可梦是非常不想结的。只有那个崩可梦我好懒得结。但那个反倒那个无尽宇宙很快就打完了，因为那个东西打起来很爽，所以我就先打它，然后那个崩可梦就是拖到最后一刻，也没有拖到最后一刻啦。其实我昨天才做完，我昨天才给他打完。叫什么？叫我听听来2声安安 ，Hello， 世界安安。哎，你们今天应该下午都有看到我的台吧？等一下。下午有看台的人应该都知道，我把那个4.2的主线的部分给它做完了。那接下来呢就是继续做那个福福的传说任务，因为想说刚做完主线，接着再做那个福福传说任务，应该会比较，因为才刚看完那个4.2剧情的主线，所以会比较。记忆犹新一些啦，记忆犹新一些。今天主题可颂之啊，是可颂吗？我打错吗？不是私颂吗？等一下，吓死我了！我没有打错吧？你故意的吧？你吓到我了！我以为我打错哎。他就是说，你看，害我瞬间赶快点去时光资讯，确认我到底是我真的我打成可颂了吗？没错吧？我是打私啊，我是打私送啊。我对差点被钓到了，我吓到，我想说，我怎么会打错？可颂跟私送也差太多了吧？而且他如果真的叫可颂之章，那也太扯了吧？啊，然后那个因为有朋友建议我这一章 这个传说任务，福福的传说任务建议听音配的方式，建议听音配。他说不然听日配可能会有些割裂感，所以我就把语音转成英文配音来听了。好，那我们开始来跑福福的传说任务吧。哦，说实话，我下播之后还是不小心把它喊成水神。我在喊水神的那一刹那，突然间吞回去就，哦不对，他是福福，他是福福。最后有歌曲，就是因为有歌曲的部分，所以才建议我转音配来听啊。对，所以我切成音配了。好，开始吧。
Hey Catherine, it's us. Got any new commissions? Specifically one with a huge more attack, perhaps?
好，听到派蒙的音配声音，就瞬间烦躁感起来了。音配里面我最不喜欢的就是派蒙声了。
You know we're worth it for quality work and speedy results. Choose Paimon and the Traveler.
我知道歌曲是原配啊，但是你前一刻在听日配，然后突然间后面是原配，就会对，就是会有一种中离的感觉。我不是说那个中离，我是说有点我不会讲他是说可能会有些割裂感啊。
It's always a pleasure to see our
对，
two
跟
most
云锦一
avid
样。
adventurers again.
云锦
Looking for the next challenge, I see.
云锦那一个传说中，我其实挺后悔，我不是听中配，我忘记我那时候是听中配吗？我想想看，好像不是听中配，我太久了，好久了。不是传说，不是传说中，是他那个我忘记是什么，有一段那个云锦不是有在唱戏腔那一段，我好像不是听中配，然后他突然间唱歌那一段就是唱中文的，就会瞬间怎么语言突然变了？对，思考断层，所以为了有连贯性，所以我们现在是听音配的。
Actually, we do in fact have a rather urgent commission that is still open. Having read the details, however, I don't believe you'd consider it to be lucrative.
Don't worry about that. We were just kidding. So what's the situation?
To put it simply, the requester is looking for a temporary replacement actress for their musical. The original cast member ran into some issues and is currently unable to perform the role. But the troupe has also been experiencing some financial difficulties, so unfortunately they cannot afford to pay the replacement actress.
That does sound like a tricky situation. So basically they're looking for a volunteer?
That's right. Our adventurers reached out to many actresses, but none of them were willing to take the job. There are only a few days left until the performance. If they can't find someone in time, they'll probably have to postpone the show. And delays tend to create all sorts of new problems.
Got it. Oh, this one's a doozy. What do you think, Traveler? Any ideas? Even if we took the commission, neither of us have any experience starring in musicals.
If you're interested in helping, why not start by having a chat with the requester? He's right over there. Maybe you can't fill the role yourselves, but you might be able to help him figure out another solution. Maybe there's something he hasn't thought of.
Oh, it's that guy, huh? No wonder, he looks like he just ate a sour lemon. Paimon approves, let's go!
派蒙的声音太尖了，所以我会给他跳的比较快。
Hello there, are you the guy looking for a new actress?
Wait, I know you two! Are you really willing to act in my musical?
Wow, sounds like we're pretty famous in Fontaine already. But to answer your question, neither of us have any experience.
Ah, I see. It's okay. I knew that asking for a volunteer was a long shot. If we can't find someone to step in, we'll have no choice but to cancel the show. It would be such a shame. That's the thing. We're not some high-profile theater
欢迎
troupe,
安安。
just a group of amateur enthusiasts. All our sets and props are very crude. We're grateful enough just to get an audience, never mind ticket fees.
啊，呆着急着他的独角兽来了，感谢追随。
If we had a way to make this profitable, things might have turned out differently. But now, it looks inevitable that we'll disband.
初见安安，
Disband? You're splitting up the troupe?
我们现在在过福福的传说任务。
Oh, I guess the lady at the Adventurers Guild didn't tell you? Yeah.
哈，
This
笨
is
笨
supposed
安
to be
安
our
安
final
安。
show together as a troupe. One last show. And after that,
音配
we
好
go our
酷
separate
哦！
ways.
其实我还蛮喜
So
欢，
we were really hoping to end on a
我
high
蛮喜
note.
欢枫丹的剧情用音配来听的，我个人蛮喜欢的。毕竟我4.0的主线剧情我是听音配的啊，后面4.1跟4.2都是听日配，因为毕竟日配的阵容这么豪华，我还是听一下日配啊。因为这段会是音配，是因为有朋友建议听音配会比较好一点，所以我就来听音配的。
Nobody wants things to just fizzle out. Not after all the time and effort we've invested into it. Yeah, the leading lady,
哦
in，
音配
fact,
最大的问题就是
she's
派蒙
been
声音
dealing
太
with a
尖了，
chronic
我
illness
会很
ever
想给她
since
跳过。
childhood, and unfortunately, it flared up again recently. It really drains all her energy, so she's in no state to perform. The show just won't be the same without her. But for everyone else's sake, I still hope we can find a way to hold the performance on schedule.
Got it. We have a clearer picture now. What if we sponsored the show?
Please, there's no need to go that far. I wouldn't feel right asking such a huge favor, and I can't promise that we'd ever be able to pay you back.
Good point. If the actress just goes through the motions for the... We should find someone who will put on the best performance possible. Oh, wait! What about... you? That's how you know we're the best apart. She's really good at performing, and she was once super popular with the crowd.
Who are you thinking of? Sounds like someone famous.
查理想，你应该抽到一个人的声音，为什么原神没办法针对某些角色转换那个语言呢？例如派蒙可以给他听可以让他讲日文吗？没办法，他声音真的太尖了。弗琳娜，
Her? You're... That was a joke, right?
他现在不是水神，他很闲。
Nope. Paimon doesn't actually know if she's performed on stage before, but...
You're not wrong there. She has actually performed in a number of big-name shows before. They were one of the reasons. But even if she's no longer the Hydro Archon, it's not like she's still an idol to many people in Fontaine, including myself. Well, yes, but... Fair enough. I mean, if she was actually willing to, then I'm sure everyone in our troupe has probably dreamt of performing on stage with her one day.
啊，旅行者就搞哦，有啦，他4.2主线有讲话啦。我其实没有听过旅行者音配的声音呢，我好像都没有听过哎。可恶，都错过了，可以听旅行者。早知道我4.2听音配，这样我就可以听到，因为4.2那个主角旅行者他讲话还讲了蛮多句的耶，好可惜哦。去档案库找，好吧。
Of course, it all depends on whether she's interested. She might consider this opportunity beneath her.
No point in stressing about that. We'll only know if we ask her. And besides, things are different now. There's no reason for her...
Thank you for your help. I guess I'll just stay here and wait.
Wait, where does Farina actually live nowadays?
As it happens, I have her current address here. I can
哦，
provide
凯
it
瑟
to
琳，你
you.
居然知道，你这什么都知道哎。
When did you get here?
I came over when things were starting to sound more promising. I thought I should be at the Red. It is my duty to support commissioners in any way I can.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Well, now that we've got the address, we'll go...
对不起，我一直在截断派蒙说话。女仆声音还不错啊，然后派蒙一直被我截断话，因为他声音太尖了，难受。去找福福喽。
Did Catherine really give us the right address? She lives here. Not that there's anything wrong with this place. It's just
好哦。
a bit of a step down from the Palais Marmonia.
You know, it's common courtesy to make sure the homeowner isn't in earshot when you're denigrating their abode.
我真心觉得弗琳娜她音配声音比较成熟一些，但我是我喜欢的声音。
When did popping out of thin air become all the rage? First Catherine and now you?
嗨 Brian， 嗨飞鸿。为什么听英文配音？因为我要过福福的传说任务啊。朋友建议是听英配。老实说，那个 MV 我还没有看过，官方影片我还没有看过。我知道官方有影片，但我还没有去点开来看，就是为了留到这个时候来看的，好吗？
I was just out on a shopping trip. I ran out of macaroni, so I went to grab a few more bags.
通心粉。
I used to have a much wider range of choices when it came to food. But now I'm finding that simple, traditional home cooking can be quite delicious
但他服装
too.
穿的还是很豪华啊。
Not at all. As long as you have different kinds of sauces in, you can have macaroni and tomato sauce one week, macaroni and bolognese the next.
Oh, sounds like you're really struggling to cope.
How rude! Questioning my cooking skills. It's not like I have a very eventful life these days. Actually, I barely leave the house. So I don't see how it's unusual that my meals are a little simpler now too.
我发到安安。
Besides, I'm sure I could master dishes like la lettre faucilor or blubber profiteroles in no time, if I felt so inclined.
Ah, there it is. You don't know how to cook.
靠背，派我英配的讲话那么呛啊。
Not yet, maybe, but... Anyway, what are you even doing here? I do hope you didn't come here just to ogle at my fall from grace. Let me first be clear that I'm not taking guests at this time. So if you're just here to clown around, then please be on your way.
比中里好一点。
Sorry, we're sorry. Please don't be mad. Yeah, exactly. What the traveler said. Hang on a sec. You weren't exactly holding back either.
My help? Well, maybe you're forgetting that I'm no longer the mighty Hydro Archon. I don't even have a vision, you know.
Don't worry. It's nothing that serious. It's just very specific, and you're the one with the power to help.
Oh? Well, if that's the case, then fine. I'll spare you the lecture about your attitude just now. So tell me, what specifically makes this matter so specific?
他还有钱可以过点柯南生活。
I see. I knew you couldn't have come all this way just to amuse yourselves at my expense. After all, I was once the brightest star in all of Fontaine, well versed in all the various performing arts. A mere musical is well within my capabilities. But given the present circumstances, I'm afraid I must regretfully
资历
decline
500
your
年的
casting
演员。
request.
How come? It sounds like this would be a breeze for...
True, but I have made a decision to retire from the stage. Although I am no longer required to play the role of the Hydro Archon, the time I spent inhabiting that character has left an indelible mark on me. Centuries of pretending to be a different person changes you completely. I'm not the same person I once was. Of course, that can't be undone now. It's too late, and I have no intention of reinventing myself all over again. But at least I can say that I no longer desire to play any new roles.
Paimon can understand, but this is just a one-off part to fill...
Whether it's a one-off or not,
有啊，我
it's
有
a
播啊。
boundary that I've committed to no longer cross. If I make an exception to the rule now, I'm just leaving a back door for myself, which would be the same as not having a boundary in the first place. So I'm not going to perform, and that is that.
Okay, guess there's no convincing you. Well, is there anything else we can do to help out the troupe? Otherwise, they'll just have to disband without any fanfare. Do you know any other actors who might be interested in the role?
Nope.
Short and to the point, okay.
I've never been great at maintaining relationships. Besides, anyone I've ever worked with probably couldn't wait to get rid of me. Since I'm just an ordinary person now, they'll probably just laugh in my face if I go asking them for help. True, but I mean, could you even blame them? I show up out of the blue, begging and groveling for their help with a show they won't even get paid for? Oh, no way. I'm dying from embarrassment just thinking about it. Nope, not happening.
Well, is there anything else we can do?
Have I not made myself clear? You're barking up the wrong tree. I don't want this job, nor do I know of anyone else who would. Sorry. I didn't mean for that to sound so harsh. I wish I could help, really. But if I thought I had the answer to this problem, I would have said so by now.
It's all right, Farina. Paimon just wanted to make sure we tried everything. Oh, yeah, I guess that's all we can do now.
Toodaloo to you, too. I'm going home to take a rest now.
伯妮娜第一次休假，她不是直接退休了吗？她是直接退休诶，工作500年，然后退休。上2开吗？是啊，下午大概12点到1点之间有开台。哇，伯妮娜不想再演。
But we have to respect Farina's decision.
人家是退休了。
Performing brings up too many painful memories now. Huh? What's going on? Are they arguing?
That's besides the point. I'll ask you again. Why did you start looking for a replacement without my consent? When did I tell you I'm going to take a step back?
You didn't need to say it. We've known each other for how long now? We know the signs. But you never tell us about your illness, even when it's clearly flaring up.
哦，我音配，因为有朋友建议我听音配。
And that gives you the right to make a decision on my behalf?
Shortly after you left, the troupe's lead actress came to the Adventurers Guild. She believes that she's healthy enough to perform. Excuse me, but can you both take a moment to discuss something else for now? The adventurer assigned to your commission has returned.
Sorry, I was just dealing with a little misunderstanding. So, how did your conversation with Farina go?
Sadly, it's a no from her. We tried to persuade her, but she wasn't having it. She doesn't want to play the role.
I see. Well, circumstances have changed a little, so maybe that's not such bad news after all. You see, our leading lady has just informed me that she's well enough to make it to the show after all. Staging the musical with the full original cast was always the dream, of course.
Oh, right! Sounds like everything worked itself out then. Yeah, she'd be livid. We'd get the scolding of a lifetime.
Jeez, is Lady Farina really so harsh with people?
Only joking, calm down. So, guess we can consider, despite the fact that we failed to complete the commission, we were still...
Look, there's no point arguing with you about this anymore. You've made yourself very clear, so I'll stop looking for a replacement. This is the last chance we have, though. If your illness flares up again, there won't be time to find anyone to replace you. So, are you absolutely sure you'll be able to handle it? The whole team is putting everything they have into this final performance. We have to make sure it goes ahead.
Yes, I'm completely confident. I've been taking a new medication from the doctor, and it's working brilliantly. I'll definitely be able to tough it out until the performance day. I share everyone's desire to commemorate all our years as a troupe with a proper farewell show. So the last thing I want is to be left out. Every one of us thinks of this troupe as their home, myself included.
You're right. I'm sorry. I let myself get too worried about the show. I should have asked for your permission first.
All's well that ends well. Sounds like the show will go on. Sure.
怎么在这里偷听？
Hey, how did you... I was just passing by because I realized I forgot a couple of items on my shopping list. All right, I'm coming. No need to drag me. Hello, one and all. I couldn't help but overhear your conversation just now.
Farina? Didn't you say you were gonna take a rest at home? What are you doing?
I was just ever so slightly concerned about the situation you mentioned. Yes, a teensy bit concerned, that's all. When you came to talk with me earlier, I jumped right to explaining my position and said some strongly worded things. And all before I even had a full grasp of the situation. Anyway, I just feel a bit bad about how it went down. I'm sorry, Paimon.
Oh, it's totally fine. Paimon didn't take any of that personally.
You really have a knack for asking the
喝水好的。
most uncomfortable questions, don't you? I felt very sheepish, having had a change of heart after flatly refusing you. And then, to make matters worse, you caught me. But in any case, it sounds like the issue has already been resolved.
Yeah.
其实这样
When
弗
they
丽娜还
said they
挺
were
可
gonna
爱的
ask for
耶。
your help, I almost had a heart attack. I mean, how could we be worthy of having Lady Farina star in our show?
There's no need to think like that. And no need to keep addressing me as lady. Just Farina is fine. I was wondering, if this troupe is so important to all of you, why does it have to disband? If the difficulties are purely financial, then there must be a solution. You could put the shows on pause while you look for a sponsor, for instance. Everyone seems so devoted to the troupe. I'm sure if you keep chipping away, you'll find a way through.
其实看完主线我挺尊敬他的耶，说实话，挺尊敬他的耶，他真的承受了很多。嗨，红烧鱼头酥。
We all want to believe that, but some things are just beyond our control. Everything's been going downhill ever since we lost our director. She was the heart and soul of our troupe. She kept us going.
Her name was O'Reilly, and she was the founder as well as the artistic director of our troupe. And tragically, she was a victim in this serial disappearances case.
What?
That's actually how I recognized these two. It was all thanks to their efforts that the true culprit was brought to justice. But still, no sentence can bring our director back to us.
She was a loyal fan of your performances, Miss Farina. They were what first inspired her to get into musical theater. She rallied many people around her who were destitute or had lost their sense of purpose in life, and convinced them to join her troupe. She wrote her own scripts, acted on stage, and mentored each and every one of us. People loved our performances back then. We seemed to be going from strength to strength. Things were really looking up for us.
And then disaster struck.
Yeah. After that, the entire troupe fell into disarray. None of us know anything about script writing, let alone how to handle the business side of things. We've been doing the best we can. But despite our efforts, things are slowly but surely falling apart. It's agonizing. But ultimately, we'd rather end things now on our own terms than stick it out to the bitter end and watch all our dreams turn to dust.
Oh.
What a terrible waste. A gifted artist from humble beginnings who achieved so much and no doubt had much more to give. And then her life was so cruelly taken. I suppose it's fair to say then that this final show, besides being your farewell to the stage, is also your final gift for her?
Yes, exactly. We all miss her terribly.
Well, good thing I followed the Traveler here. After hearing this tragic tale, I can no longer stand by and do nothing.
Farina.
I know what you're thinking, but I by no means plan to cross the boundary I've set for myself. Besides, they're no longer looking for a replacement anyway. I can, however, provide some artistic guidance from the vantage point of a highly experienced audience member. But only if you feel this is something that would help, of course.
Oh, most definitely. We'll take any guidance that you can give.
We unfortunately don't have any budget for a consultant, though. Will that be a problem?
I don't need any compensation. All I'd ask in return, if you're willing, is that you tell me some more about the life and work of your late director. Something I've begun to realize since my departure from the Opera Epiclese is that there's a lot you don't see when you observe everything from on high. The law only judges criminal behavior and does not weigh human emotion. The court's verdict can settle the question of criminal liability, but what about all the unresolved emotions of the parties involved? What happens to them? An interesting answer. But if you ask me, I think all emotion shall ultimately return home to the heart and slowly settle with the passage of time. Take, par exemple, how this troupe pines for their late director. Things such as this I have never witnessed before, and so I should like to observe, perchance to understand.
Huh. Still a fan of your old dramatic monologues then, huh? You just want to get back in on the action, don't you?
No. This is a completely different situation. Pearls before swine.
The name's not Swine, it's Paimon!
Would you be willing to join me? Come on, take a break from adventuring to listen to a story.
Thank you all so much. Our director was a huge fan of Miss Farina's performances, as of course we all are. Alright, follow me. We'll go to our usual practice space. Please excuse the size. It's a little on the smaller side.
干嘛？怎么聊天室一堆人在喊？哎，红烧一头酥干嘛？音配，因为那个、啊，因为有朋友建议我，福福的传说任务可以听音配，然后听音配比较，就是对于后面最后的那个 MV 会比较不会有那个割裂感啊，所以我才切音配来听。安月安安，谁是烧肉兔啦？哪里？阿姨，你抽筋了？你现在在上班？哦。下班了。啊，现在脚现在有比较好一点吗？排练场地在哪？哦，在里面。怎么可能现在还在上班？搞不好有啊，有的我记得之前也有看到来的观众，他说他现在正在上班啊。
Huh? Lady Farina?
大家看到弗琳达还是很惊讶。
Hello all. Allow me to explain. As of today, Miss Farina will be supporting our production of The Little Oceanid in the role of artistic consultant.
哪有？我
These
哪有
two
害大
over
家
here
上班不
are
专
the
心？
ones that made it possible. They kindly reached out to Miss Farina on our behalf. I'm sure they need no
奔奔
introduction.
晚安，祝你有个好
You
梦。
bet! That was the trial of the century!
You helped bring our director's murderer to justice. We can't thank you enough.
Oh, please don't mention it. We're just here to join in on the fun.
So, you were saying The Little Oceanid?
Yeah, that's the name of our final show. It's an unfinished script left behind by our director. One of our greatest regrets is that she never got to complete it. So, if we can bring it to the stage and make it a successful show, we can all take some solace in that.
Wait, but if it's not finished, then...
Yeah, We've been battling issues on every front, trying to realize this dream. The protagonist of the story is a young Oceanid who transforms herself into human form, despite the protests of her family. She longed to live just like any other human. And sure enough, she found friendship and even love. Everything seemed perfect. But one day, her true identity was exposed, and her world came crashing down around her.
So far, so good. A classic tale. What happened after that?
That's one of the issues we've been trying to deal with. Unfortunately, this was as far as the director got with her script. We need a proper ending so we can bring this musical to the stage. But people have different opinions on which direction to take it in.
We still haven't decided between a happy ending or a true-to-life tragedy.
By true to life, you mean the director's sudden disappearance?
Yeah, like they say, truth is stranger than fiction. But then there's the question of whether we really want to use the stage to pass our raw pain onto the audience.
Exactly. A lot of the time, people come to watch a show just hoping for some light entertainment. We have to consider their emotional stake in this, not just our own. And one last thing. We're still waiting on confirmation from two of our main actors. The first is Paulo, who plays the protagonist's lover. He's locked himself away to focus on writing an ending for the script, but the deadline's passed and we still haven't heard from him. The other is Villemont, who plays the main antagonist. He took the director's death pretty hard. Hasn't set foot in the city since. He did write to us, promising that he'll be there for the final performance, but we haven't seen or heard from him since. So we're not really sure what to make of that.
Huh. Although, now that we have Miss Farina helping us, maybe we should take the opportunity to get everyone back together.
What opportunity? What do you mean?
Maybe you're unaware, but your name has always been like a rallying cry for us.
Our director was constantly singing your praises. All of us look up to you as a role model.
Oh, stop! You're making me all flustered. Although, not in a bad way. I suspect the reason they're dragging their feet is that they have their doubts about whether the show will really go ahead, considering all the issues you've been facing. But one by one, all the obstacles are being removed. Now is the time to rally the troops.
Makes sense. Okay, priority number 1, let's check in with Paulo and see where he's at with the ending. He went back to Poisson a few days ago. Said that staying in a friend's home might help him to relax and escape the feeling of isolation.
I thought the last thing his friend would want right now would be to take visitors, given that Poisson was flooded not too long ago. But I guess it's the opposite. A friend in need and all that.
Yeah, maybe he could use some company.
Poisson? Nothing. I suppose my presence will be indispensable if we are to restore his faith in the show. So, allons-y. To Poisson!
Ah. 夫妇要去面对啊！为什么这边过场这么久？嗯。
If I remember correctly, this is where he's staying.
Who is it?
It's me. Is the script ready?
You came all the way here for that?
Alright. Forget that for now. Just come on out. We've got some great news.
Nice try. Look, just give me some time, okay? I'm just wrapping up this last part of the script. I'll be out once I'm done.
Okay then. Looking forward to your masterpiece.
So, as expected, he's missed the deadline.
The ending is one of the most important parts of the show. Even once he's done, it isn't final until we've all had the chance to read through and make sure we agree on it.
Someone told me they'd just seen you in Poisson. I assumed it was a case of mistaken identity, but sure enough, here you are. And Farina, too.
I was wondering if we might run into her.
So, you're here for Paolo? Looks like he could be a while, so feel free to take a stroll around town in the meantime. I've made all the arrangements already.
Oh, it's okay. We can just wait here.
Thank you for being so considerate, Miss Navia. That sounds wonderful. We'll take that stroll. Get over here, you! How oblivious are you?
How are things in Poisson now? Any better?
Things are on the mend, but it's a slow process. Some people may never recover from the trauma they experienced.
I'm sorry to hear that. I wish there was something I could do.
Please, must our conversations take such a depressing turn every time we meet? We all have painful memories, but we don't have to let them cloud everything we do. And if you're trying to make a new start, perhaps it's best if you don't bring up the past all the time.
Thank you for your words of comfort. You make a very good point. But for now, at least, I think I should stay with the way I'm feeling for a while longer.
It's okay. These things take time. Moving on from a painful experience is easier said than done. Which brings me to why I'm here. I thought you should probably know that not everyone here is ready to forgive and forget after the Hydro Archon's inaction in the face of catastrophe. To avoid upsetting the peace, I told the townspeople that everyone here is a member of the theater troupe, and that you are just an actress playing the role of Farina. It's not a perfect solution, but hopefully it means you won't have to lie low while you're here.
That's so thoughtful of you, Navia.
Well, what do you expect? I am the courageous and considerate president of Spina di Rosula, after all, like my father before me. Anyway, that was all. Look after her now.
Off we go then. Let's take a look up there. I don't have any friends that I can be frank and honest with, so maybe she's right. You're the closest thing to friends that I have.
Take it easy.
I'm so grateful that Miss Navia was so understanding. To be perfectly honest, I didn't know if I was ready to meet her. It's always easiest to just run away from your problems. But that never fixes anything. You can't get around the obstacles without facing them.
So that's why you were nervous when they brought up Poisson.
Yeah. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't scared of coming back here. Still, I felt it was something I had to do. As I was saying before, I want to see for myself the things that I never could in the past. I'd be overjoyed if the people here could find it in their hearts to forgive me. But they're more likely to unleash a tirade of vitriol against me. Yeah, I can tell people are watching me. I'm sure some people here see the idea of someone coming to Poisson dressed as the Hydro Archon as extremely disrespectful. I used to be terrified of the gaze of other people, especially when they had suspicion or resentment in their eyes. I guess I wasn't quite ready for this after all.
I'm surprised you're making yourself go through all of this.
夫妇要坚强啊！你也没办法的啊，真的，哎。
What do you mean by that? You expected me to just keep running and hiding from my responsibility forever?
Look! There seems to be a crowd gathering over there.
Probably time we made a move. How about we check out Spina di Rasula's ship? We should have a view of the whole of Poisson from there.
"真的，夫妇你已经做很好了。
I'm sorry. You probably just wanted a relaxing stroll, and here I am dumping all this heavy stuff on you.
We don't mind. It's actually refreshing to see a different side of you.
Great. Well, I appreciate your company, so please don't disappear just yet. I don't know whether you can tell, but the years of suffering and loneliness aren't the only reason I have a hard time facing up to who I used to be. As I stand here by the ship, I can't get the images of the rising water out of my mind. One after another, people were taken by the water.
他承受的压力很
All those
大
treasured lives and memories washed out of existence in an instant. They thought their god would protect them. They had absolute faith that when disaster struck, a divine power would save them from harm. And all the while, I played my part to perfection to convince them that was true. But then the floodwaters finally came, and the Hydro Archon did nothing.
You shouldn't look at it like that. You were only doing your duty.
I've had to go through so many moments like that for the sake of protecting the truth. As time went on, it got harder and harder to bear, and I became more lonely and isolated. Eventually, I realized I had nothing left except the truth. I became terrified of completely failing in my task, and was haunted by the thought of being left all alone, weeping on my throne. Fortunately, we were able to avoid the worst-case scenario thanks to the help of heroic individuals such as yourselves. Everyone rose to their responsibilities, and I finally regained my freedom. But on some level, freedom also means no longer being needed. I have no further use to people.
Paimon would have never imagined you'd see it that way.
A reward? I guess so. Back then, I didn't even dare to dream about having someone to confide in. I was scared of someone recognizing me for who I truly was, and exposing the secret I swore to protect. Believe in the Farina you see on stage. She is the one you can trust. I had to keep all my feelings, all my curiosity about life to myself. No one could be allowed to know. That's what I really meant when I said I'm no good at maintaining relationships.
So that's where you were coming from. Paimon totally thought you were...
Could you please get off my case? I don't know what's gotten into you today.
派蒙
I'm
讲话真的
making
有
an
够
effort
呛。
here. You could at least try to do the same. I do. I once had nothing but the truth, and now I'm finally free to live my own life again. And even though I have no idea where I'm going right now, at least the choice is in my hands. All right, it's about time to head back. Paulo should have finished the ending by now.
Sure. Okay, let's head back and check it out.
结局写完了没？嗨，K G，安安。哎，K G，你有发现你有酷酷的那个创建者图标了吗？
Didn't you say you needed to watch what you eat? You're supposed to be cutting down on fried foods, not wolfing down copious quantities of fish and chips, you know?
Come on. It's not every day we get to dine at Spina di Rosula's expense. Can you believe how generous she is? I'm not about to pass on free food. Anyway, my character doesn't need to be slim and good-looking. That's your job.
Are you kidding me right now? It's not your character's health I'm worried about, it's yours.
哦，因为我有去清一下创建者，因为我发现创建者里面有几个已经很久没有来看我的台了，对，所以就拿掉了。所以啊，因为那个创建者的那个图标就是一定会是前10人，所以如果前面拿掉的就会往后找，那就刚好你就上来了。
I've spent my whole life battling the effects of ill health, and it kills me to watch you willingly ruin yours by filling yourself up with junk all the time.
Oh no, looks like they're arguing again. We're back! Could you maybe put your differences aside for...
Ah, you're back. We've been enjoying Spina di Rosula's VIP treatment in your stead. Paulo's nearly done. We shouldn't have to wait too much longer.
Great! So you were discussing your characters, right? We heard she's playing the Oceanid who turns into a human girl. What about you?
Me? I'm an Oceanid too.
He was originally supposed to take the form of a crane, but
改成
he
猪。
outgrew that role. Well, the costume at least. So now he's playing the boar instead.
太萌礼貌呢？
The boar's not a bad character, actually. He's the one who raises the little Oceanid, yes?
That's right. He has some pretty memorable lines too, like when he imparts some solemn words of wisdom to the little Oceanid. If you become human, you can reveal your secret to no one. You will face suffering and loneliness. Is this truly what you want?
Wait, that sounds kind of familiar.
哦，这个剧本
It's the most important line in the whole script. I think it's a symbolic statement about our director's life and legacy. She kept quiet about all the trials and tribulations she faced in running our troupe, allowing us to devote ourselves fully to performing. It was only after she was gone that we realized how tough her job really was.
You mentioned earlier that the troupe is like your home.
Yeah. I was born with an incurable illness, and once my family found out it couldn't be treated, they decided they didn't want me anymore. I spent some years taking whatever work I could find and trying to manage my illness with various medicines. But whenever I had a bad flare-up, I'd be lying in an alleyway for days at a time. It was like that until the director found me one day. She told me I had a great voice and asked if I was interested in studying singing from her. I said yes. She took me under her wing, taught me to both sing and act, helped me find Mora for my meds, took care of me when my condition decided to flare up. I know it was all a huge burden on her.
She sounds like a really incredible person.
She really was. She gave everything she had to her troupe and the people in it. All of us were so proud to call her our director. I was a lost child too when she found me. As the child of a murderer, my parents weren't around when I was little, so I got sent to an orphanage. The other kids were always picking fights with me. They'd say things like, "Come on, you must be pretty tough if you're the son of a murderer." It was just to taunt me, though. I was an easy target, and they knew it. One day, I got beaten up so bad that I just couldn't take it anymore, so I ran away. I lost all faith in humanity by that point. Thought the whole world was out to get me.
Let me guess. Fortunately, the next person you ran into was the director.
Yeah. For the first time in my life, I was somewhere I felt safe. And I promised myself I'd stay here until the day the group parted ways.
The day you hoped would never come. How times change.
结局写完啦。
Oh, you're finally done? Get your butt over here. There's someone I need to introduce you to. This is our new artistic consultant, Miss Farina.
Farina? The Farina? Oh my god, how did you manage to wrangle that?
Please, the honor is all mine. I was profoundly moved to hear about your troupe and your wonderful director. I just wanted to do something to help.
Same here.
Even so, this is just... Oh, wow. I'm sorry. I'll try to calm down. Now, where was I? Ah, yes, the script, of course. Let me give you a rundown of how the story unfolds in my version of the script. I'm sure you're already familiar with the beginning of the story. A little Oceanid decides she wants to become a human, against the wishes of her family. She finds love and friendship in the bustling city. But then, disaster strikes. The people start to notice that all the fresh water in the surrounding area is slowly disappearing. The soil is becoming arid, plants and flowers are withering, and the people begin to panic. The little Oceanid, Cleo, and her lover decide to do something about it, and investigate the truth of the matter together. In the end, they discover that all the waste and pollution created by humans over the years has caused the fresh water to flee the land, as if driven by a consciousness of its own.
Consciousness? You mean the water is sentient?
Water as a conscious entity. There's actually quite a few stories that explore this theme.
Since the little Oceanid is a water spirit, she immediately understands how the water is feeling. She then tells her lover about her true identity, as well as the truth behind the crisis. Her lover accepts her for who she is, and works with her to find a way to bring the water back. However, unbeknownst to them, there were some people eavesdropping when she revealed her secret. The little Oceanid is accused of being directly responsible for driving the water away, and faces the greatest dilemma of her life.
And then?
In the end, she makes the brave decision to sacrifice herself to save her lover, and the rest of humanity.
Huh? But didn't they all treat Cleo like a villain? Why would she want to save them after that?
Well, she mainly wanted to save her lover, plus everyone who'd stood up for her.
Through her love for her human partner, she was able to find an even greater love, one that extended to all of humanity. Surely the biggest strength of Cleo's character.
There's actually something else that bothers me. You know the protagonist is supposed to represent the director, right? And she never had the chance to become a hero in our world. If we're serious about dedicating this show to her memory, we should make the ending as true to life as possible. What about if the little Oceanid is hounded to death by people who hate her, her lover makes sure her secret never gets out, and humanity continues down the path to extinction?
That sounds like too cruel of an ending to me, and perhaps a little irresponsible to present to the audience.
That ending would be a perfect mirror to Director Aureli's death, both arbitrary and meaningless. On the day when she went missing, Director Aurelie had instructed us all, somewhat out of the blue, to leave the court of Fontaine and wait for her outside the city. We waited and waited at the rendezvous point, but she never came. By the time we returned to the city, she disappeared without a trace. We looked for her. The Gardamex looked for her, but she was nowhere to be found. Increasingly, All the signs seem to point to her being the latest victim in the serial disappearances case.
The director was the kindest soul in the world. Yet she was senselessly sacrificed for the sake of a so-called experiment by someone who had nothing to do with her at all.
But doesn't the way she suddenly told you to leave the city suggest that maybe she had some sense of what was about to happen? It almost seems as if she was moving you to safety.
I've been trying to follow up on that ever since, but all my efforts so far have turned up nothing. Villemont might know something, but he won't open up to me.
Villemont? The one who's playing the role of the villain?
Yeah. He's been overwhelmed by grief. I think the director's death hit him hardest of all.
Grief? Guilt, more like. Also, I have a hard time imagining that anyone took it harder than me. Because, well, speaking of the play being true to life, I was deeply, madly in love with Aurelie.
What? You kept that one quiet.
It's time to be upfront with you all. No more keeping secrets from each other. We'll never be able to agree on the ending if we can't be honest about how we feel. I did tell her how I felt once, but she turned me down pretty much straight away. She said that we were all like brothers and sisters to her, and she'd never considered us as potential romantic partners. Not that it came as a shock or anything. It was what I was expecting to hear. So I told her I'd always be there for the troupe, and I'd always be there for her. I said, maybe one day in the future, when everyone's settled into their own lives and on the up and up, and managing the troupe no longer required her constant attention, well, maybe then she could reconsider what she really wanted in her life. And now, that day will never come.
Oh, Paulo.
So if I'm the one writing this ending, then I'm gonna make sure it does right by Aurelie. I won't let anyone get in the way of that.
In that case, you have to straighten things out with Villemont once and for all, face to face. We've all had our differences of opinion over the ending, but those two have never seen eye to eye on anything. One of them has to compromise if we're ever going to reach a final decision.
Well, if that's where we're at, looks like it's time to go visit Villemont.
Are you ready to face the truth?
哦，限定周边，恭喜恭喜！雅人爸爸兑换了限定周边。等一下，我看一下这个剩多少个。等一下。最后一个了，这是最后一个了，我要把这个东西给拔掉了。我要把这个东西给拔掉了，这个没有了，哎，没有了。哇塞，哎，不是，我还没有准备新的，这是最后一份了耶！你等我一下，我把这个关掉就不能再换了。这没有了，这最后一个了，关掉。好，我们继续看剧情吧。恭喜恭喜啊！爸爸拿到最后一个限定周边，之后还有新的可以换吗？会有，但我还在筹备中，好，我们继续，刚好最后一个。我好像关掉，我们没有，我到时候有新的再换，再准备好不好？只是现在手边这个最后一个了。对啊，如果后面还会再准备，不用担心，欢迎无痕。还有的。
Honestly, I'm slightly terrified. But
咸鱼都在
for the
摸
sake
头。
of our final performance, I'll do whatever it takes. Funny you should ask, though. You really do get what I'm going through right now.
I certainly do. Come on, everyone. Allons-y!
啊！这狗刚刚以为它在大便， 打咸鱼都忙着摸头哎，是摸头狂，摸头狂。那亚兰爸爸，你的要不要到时候那个滑鼠店来了，我再一起寄好了。你的那个我跟滑鼠店一起寄。
Take it easy.
This is tough going. Delphi, are you sure you can manage in your condition?
I could ask you the same question. Try to keep up.
As if this journey wasn't tough enough already without a roadblock.
Don't worry. We should all be fine with the traveler here. We don't need to take a detour. Wait, why are you all looking at me? You're not seriously expecting me to fight, are you?
We're just curious, that's all. I don't think anyone's ever seen
他只是个
Farina
普
in
通
a
人
fight
欸。
before.
Yeah, but don't you remember why? The Hydro Archon willingly gave up all her power so it could be converted into indemnitium. Miss Farina said so herself.
Precisely. And I'm not even the Hydro Archon anymore, so all my power is gone anyway. As much as it pains me, unfortunately, I should just stay put. I'm more like a damsel in distress more than anything.
That sounded so smug. Secondhand embarrassment is unbearable.
Hey, lay off, all right? My bluff is hanging from a thread here.
拍我那个脸。
I'm sorry. I got carried away. Please help us out, would you?
Aw, too bad. I was so pumped to feast my eyes on fight mode Farina.
Sorry to leave all the heavy lifting to you.
Don't worry, piece of cake.
没有，弗琳娜可以使用，哭了都。等一下，我也。
It knows me. Time to go. As one with wind and cloud.
看了三笑。
Illusion shattered.
靠背，我快笑死了。
Doctor will see you now.
Remember,
我
health
刚
comes
看了三
first.
笑。
Inazuma shines eternal.
看我真的要笑死。
Into the wind.
哎呦，我应该要换队伍啊！算了，
There is no escape.
这队伍打这个好难打。
Bravo! Good show! You certainly live up to your reputation.
跟那个冰
thank
雕。
you. Anyway, the path is cleared now, so onwards and upwards.
看那个冰雕真的是，真的太好笑了。哦，怎么那么刚好啊？哎，是要上去还是哦在那里？
Vilma, are you there?
Huh? Oh, it's you guys. Wait, what's Lady Farina doing here?
惊不惊喜，意不意外？
I can explain. We've been rounding up the whole troop. We now have everyone except you.
刚笑好累哦。
So, you think knowing the truth about the director's disappearance will help you write an ending to the script that pleases everyone? I care just as much as everyone else about making the Little Oceanid a success. That's why I wanted to wait
啊
until
有什么
after the
真相？
show.
赶快说。
If I open this can of worms now, I just don't want to make things difficult between us. We're supposed to be a unit when we're on stage.
Vilma, avoiding the truth will not help anyone.
谢谢查米
Unless
桑
you。mean to suggest that Aurelie's death had something to do with you.
I don't want to talk about it.
Listen, Vilma. I used to think that my love for Aurelie was a point of shame. I never brought it up to anyone. But now, I've made up my mind to put it all on the table. I'm prepared to face everything, to sacrifice everything for the sake of the show. The little Oceanid cannot be complete unless we do justice to Aurelie on an emotional level.
This is why people think of you as not being the smart one. As you all know already, the troupe was kept afloat not from ticket sales, but donations from the audience. Of course, that was nowhere near enough. We took on side jobs when we weren't performing, but even then, the troupe's financial situation was pretty dire. So, anyway, one day after a show, a merchant came to me and offered us a huge sponsorship. In return, we just had to provide the audience with their drinks during performances. It seemed like a win-win, so I said yes to it on the spot without consulting the director. It was only when the merchant came to deliver the goods that I realized the drink in question was synth.
Isn't that the drink peddled by the culprit behind the serial disappearances case?
I freaked out when I saw the boxes. And I told the director everything right away. She was completely shocked as well. But she didn't reprimand me for making the decision without consulting her. Instead, she contacted the merchant and stated that the troupe could not agree to this collaboration. The merchant was furious, berated us for going back on our word, and threatened to sue us for damages. The amount was astronomical. There was no way we'd be able to pay.
And then?
I was going to sort it on my own, but the director stopped me. She said that this was an issue for the whole troupe, and it wasn't my fault. But things only got worse from there. The synth merchant just wouldn't let up, and then suddenly the director told us all to leave the city one day. I admit this whole thing was my mistake. I didn't dare to tell any of you the truth back then, and after the director disappeared, I was even more afraid to say anything. Yeah, I got Aurelie killed. There, I said it. Happy now?
Hey, don't say that.
You traitor! You knew Aurelie was in danger. Why in God's name didn't you tell us? What do you mean, you were afraid? This was a life-and-death situation. We could have saved her! How could you be so stupid?
Please, try not to get too worked up.
Yeah, listen to him. You need to stay calm.
Stay calm? How can I stay calm? This guy got Aurelie murdered. She was the love of my life. And he has the gall to try and high-road us, claiming that he kept his mouth shut for the sake of the show. How about taking some responsibility for what he's done?
不是啊，不是因为1999，是因为这段剧情，福福的传说任务有朋友推荐我玩音配，因为福福的传说任务后面好像有一段表演，但那段表演的话，听音配在接那段表演会比较不会有太大的割离感，对，而且加上原神，我本来之前就有玩过音配的。之前4.0的剧情我就是玩音配，我觉得他的音配表现也很不错，所以这个传说任务就来听音配的。那他歌一定是法语，是，但是听音配会至少割离感比较没那么严重。啊，继续。
All I can say is I'm sorry, truly. I wanted to apologize to everyone in the troupe. That won't bring back the director. What good is my apology now? I'm just a coward who made an awful, terrible mistake that I can never take back. Beat me up if you want. Kill me if you prefer. It's what I deserve. End my life. So I can meet the director and apologize to her in person.
Get out of my sight. Go, get lost. I don't ever want to see your face again.
That's enough! You've screamed and shouted at each other for long enough. Now pipe down, both of you! Can you stop conflating the show on stage with your real-life relationships in the troupe? You keep saying that you want to use this final performance to pay tribute to your director and celebrate her life. How can you do that if you're just using it as an excuse to vent your own emotions?
You're right.
I'm sorry.
On stage, the lead role is the focal point of the audience's attention. And you're all used to seeing the director as the heart of the troupe. But in her own life, her greatest desire wasn't to be the center of attention. I can tell how much she loved you all, and how much she loved the troupe. What she wanted was to build a warm home for all of her brothers and sisters. To shield you all from the storms that rage in the world outside. That's how you should remember her. And that's what you should be celebrating. I understand why you're trying to make her the hero of the story, but isn't she your hero already? After everything she did for you?
Yeah.
So think hard about what that means. And then think again about what you hope to achieve by arguing with each other. If you really hate each other and can't reconcile your differences, then you could just call it quits now. Why bother with the final performance if the group is already fractured? But you can't bring yourself to do that, can you? You care too much about Director O'Reilly and the home she built you all to let go. What are you laughing at? I don't see what's so funny.
Sorry, I didn't mean it that way. It's just that, for a moment there, it felt like our director was back with us again. If she'd seen Paulo and Villemont at each other's throats like that, she would have scolded them exactly like you did, in that same stern voice.
Really? But she sounded like such a gentle person.
Of course she was. Even her harshest lectures came from a place of kindness, and it showed. She really was a truly outstanding person.
What you said, it really puts everything into perspective.
I'm truly sorry. I really meant for this to be a genuine apology, but I ended up making it all about me and my self-pity.
It's all right. Let's save all this for after the performance.
So, the ending. What are we gonna do about it?
Clearly, everyone needs to take a step back for now and reflect on what really matters. When emotions are running high, things get lost in the fray. The end of the story needs to focus back on O'Reilly herself. She's the true star of the show.
What do you mean?
The Traveler is right. You once investigated that underwater synth base and recovered items belonging to the victims. If you could find anything that O'Reilly left behind, perhaps we can get a better sense of what she went through in her final days.
You really think that's possible?
I trust that nobody would object to the ending of the story being based on O'Reilly's true feelings.
No.
Well, we'll leave this in your capable hands.
Come, let's pay a visit to the Palais Mermonia. The rest of you, head back to the rehearsal location for now, and wait for our good news.
去找团长留下来的物品。我的每日任务一直在提醒我，不用做了啦！我今天跑那么多任务。
You want to review some recovered items connected to victims of the serial disappearances case? But, that case has been closed for quite a while now. Still, since you were the ones who discovered and submitted the evidence in the first place, you don't actually have to submit an application. Okay, please hold on. I'll have someone dig them out.
So, this is all O'Reilly left behind. just whatever she was carrying on her person and this tattered old notebook.
Hey! It's full of script lines! And sketches too! Looks like they show where the different props should be placed on stage.
Let me take a look. Maybe there's something in here from after she was kidnapped. Aha! I found something. To whoever discovers this diary. Let's see. Looks like she kept a detailed record of her captor's actions. She even mentions the truth behind the experiments on dissolving young women. If we'd had the chance to examine this notebook carefully back then, it would have been a conclusive piece of evidence proving Vacher's guilt.
Vacher took so many lives. It's still so unthinkable how many victims he had.
I guess Aurelie must have written all of this down in the hope that her records would one day be of use to investigators. Wait, it cuts off. Her handwriting here gets patchier and more illegible by the line. She probably didn't have much strength left. Her final words are... I'll let you read them for yourselves.
来看一下他笔记。在后见到还有剧团其他人呢。嗨，长哥安安。好，查米莎晚安，祝你有个好梦。嗨，空白。
She was so terrified.
She may have been a mighty hero in the eyes of her troop, but at the end of the day, she was only human. I can't bear to think how painful and lonely her final days must have been. Wait. This part on the last page sounds strangely familiar. If you become human, you can reveal your secret to no one. You will face suffering and loneliness. Is this still what you want?
Isn't that the most important line in the Little Oceanid?
Because I am an older sister to them.
Oh.
So she didn't regret her decision. Even as she sat in silence, waiting for death to come. I'm sure this is what the troupe would have hoped to hear as well. She had their utmost trust, admiration, and love, and she truly deserved it. Let's go. It's time for them to learn Director O'Reilly's final thoughts.
长哥，你没抽到福琳娜，那给你吸点欧气，给你吸点欧气，抽到吧？可以的，可以的。虽然我是大宝出来的，但我的大宝含小加上小宝总计50几抽吧，这样能算大宝？啊，我小宝歪的是晴，是晴。再抽一只不行，因为我想要抽纳维亚，我想抽纳维亚，所以我就抽到弗琳娜就停了。我还剩多少啊？没有注意看。 啊，那个还有小宝的量。不要不要，我要留着抽，我要留着抽纳维亚啦。
She deserves a hero's farewell. If that's the only way to convey to the audience the courage and selflessness that she showed in the face of death, then it's a meaningful way to end the story.
Even in the
长
last
歌为了
moments
抚
of her
抚干
life,
吧，
she was
不然
still
就是氪
leaving a
金了。
trail for others to follow.
She did her best to protect as many people as possible, even if it meant sacrificing herself. We know what choice our little Oceanid would have made now. I don't think any more discussion is necessary. Well, Vilmont, if we put the past aside for now, do you think you can bring yourself to go ahead with the show?
I will channel all my regret and put it into my performance to make this a show worthy of our director. I won't ask for your forgiveness, and you don't need to worry about my feelings. This final
好啊，
farewell
行，晚
show
安，
should
祝
be
你有个
about
好
Director
梦。
Aurelie and her alone.
Then it seems like we've reached a consensus. I have a feeling that this will turn out to be the most mesmerizing performance of your lives.
Really? How can you be so sure when you've never even seen them perform before?
Don't underestimate my experience. After watching a countless number of musicals, I've learned one important thing. If you want to move the audience with your music, you must fully commit and immerse yourself in your role, pouring all your emotion into your performance. And aren't human emotions love, hate, regret, and hope just the most mesmerizing things in this world? I don't believe anybody could be more committed to bringing this story to life on the stage than they are now.
Thank you for the vote of confidence, Miss Farina. And thank you for supporting us through all this.
Then, let's not delay things any longer. We need to discuss the details of the ending and get it nailed down once and for all.
Actually, before that, I'd like to make a proposal. During the curtain call, please allow me to use the director's name instead of my own.
Huh? But then...
After all, this role was originally meant to be played by the director. I'm just filling in for her. Besides, a role commemorating her life should be associated with her name.
Well, if you're sure you're okay with that, I have no objection to it.
Now we're talking like a serious acting troupe. All right, I'll leave you to fine-tune your musical while I go and procure a stage.
Procure a stage?
Oh, it's okay. Our usual place doesn't need a reservation.
That place? Oh, don't be silly. For an extraordinary show, we need an extraordinary stage.
哇，
By which I,
歌
of
剧院
course,
演
mean
出。
the Opera Epiclese.
Whoa, wait, what?
No. That's never going to work. It's far too fancy for the likes of us.
What are you afraid of? Surely you don't think that Aurelie's story is unworthy of the grandest stage in Fontaine.
No, though that's not what I meant.
It is supposed to be your grand finale, right?
I have no problem with it then. How about the rest of you? I'll take your silence as a yes. Thank you for giving us this opportunity. It really is a dream come true.
Well, then don't disappoint me. If you mess this up, it'll reflect poorly on me too. Come on. We'll need to get the go-ahead from Nerilette. I know just where to find him.
为什么一堆任务干扰我啊？雪神应该比纳维亚有所以，不是啊？我抽纳维亚是因为性癖而抽啊。纳维亚是因为性癖而抽，因为纳维亚，对我喜欢他的人设。我抽纳维亚不是为了强度，是为了性癖。谢谢。谁啦？是谁影响我？谁？该死，就是你！这个234，你他妈一个每日任务卡我，被一个每日任务卡。我今天就不用做每日任务哦。我决定我要快速看过。而且这个每任务都超花时间的，要跟好多人讲话，很讨厌。应该算是我整个枫丹的每日任务里面最不喜欢的任务。又是这个到处拿表啊，超讨厌做这个每日任务的。
Take it easy.猫团，欧米的龙猫，感谢追随。好了，该死！真土豆晚上好，土豆老师晚上好。现在是在做福福的传说任务。因为我今天下午才刚把那个4.2主线跑完，所以接着看那个福福的传说任务。初见安安，龙妈安安 ，Take it easy。
啊，土豆老师，你刚下班吗？辛苦了，上班辛苦了。哎，纳维莱特去哪了？啊，纳维莱特，等一下，告别，他在门外啊，他在外面啊。他不在里面哦，我直接直奔到里面来。 然后没发现到人。初见你好啊，在哪里？纳维莱特去哪了
Take it easy.
Hey, look at that! Looks like I guessed right.
You were just
I knew you'd be here.
I'm here merely for a short break. It has been a while, Miss Farina. And you too, Traveler and Paimon. What might I assist you with today?
I would like to book the Opera Epiclese for an event. You see...
I understand. The process for booking the Opera Epiclese is complex and can be somewhat cumbersome. But given that the request is coming from the three of you, I see no reason to make things unduly difficult. The story of the Little Oceanid is most fascinating. I'm looking forward to seeing it performed on stage. I will say, however, that I am surprised to see your passion for the performing arts rekindled after all that has happened.
Huh? What do you mean? Do I look excited?
Yes. And this is the first time that I've seen you like this since your departure from deityhood.
At first, I just felt bad about rejecting them. So I wanted to learn a little bit more about their situation. But one thing led to another, and... well, here we are. In the past, we sat in our high chairs in the court, giving our opinions on isolated cases, all while knowing very little about the human stories behind each and every one. Maybe it's because I finally become an ordinary person and gained my freedom, but I've developed a great sense of curiosity about their lives.
I am truly delighted to see you find a new lease on life. Now that you've regained some confidence, have you had any thoughts regarding a return to the stage?
Why would you suddenly ask a question like that?
Well, if the Little Oceanid turns out to be a great success, it will no doubt become a classic. Many theater companies are certain to add it to their repertoire. The experiences and decisions of the protagonist Cleo are all modeled after your own. Naturally, this makes you eminently suited to playing the leading role. It would truly be a shame if you did not take this opportunity to allow audiences to enjoy your outstanding acting talents once more.
Haven't I already made myself clear? I won't act or perform in any role ever again. No exceptions. Nor do I think it is any great shame. There is no lack of fine actors or inspirational stories, either on or off the stage. This experience is a case in point. I feel like I've learned a lot, and it has already been well worth the price of admission. I must admit, though, I'm a little envious. They're quite fortunate to be able to bid farewell to their past in such a magnificent manner.
I see. Well, I'm glad to learn that you have found a role to play that you enjoy, be it on the stage or not. I sincerely hope the show will serve as the grandest of finales. I will have my staff book the date and mail the relevant paperwork to the troupe once the details are confirmed.
Thanks, Nervalette.
You are very welcome.
要排演喽！嗨，Jasuke，安安，继续排演。长哥，你怎么在喊霍霍？你要抽霍霍？
Good news, everyone! It's done. The Opera Epiclese is booked. Thanks to my eloquent and impassioned speech, Monsieur Nervalette was moved to provide us with a fitting stage for this special performance. We've had to fight every step of the way for this opportunity, but we now have all of the ingredients necessary to stage a truly spectacular performance. A touching story, a magnificent venue, and last but not least, a passionate and dedicated cast. Now, let's work together and make this show the best it can be.
This is truly wonderful.
The sooner we can finalize the ending, the more time we'll have to rehearse. Fiumali and I just went over some parts of the script and tweaked a few things. I think it's really going to resonate with the audience now.
Wow, you two had a constructive conversation? That's great!
Communication is vital to any good performance.
Look at us. We've come so far. I never could have pictured this scene a few days ago.
It's amazing! Even though Farina's still being a bit of a drama queen about it all, she's really fired everyone up!
Please feel free to give us any comments or suggestions you have. We really value your input.
Hey, Loic, get over here. Time to practice the opening number.
Cursed Cleo. She stole the waters of life from us. She's a fraud, and she must pay for her crimes.
This has nothing to do with her. The ignorance and hatred of our people is to blame. How can we hope to win back the water's favor if we don't change our ways?
This guy could be useful. Take him hostage. If Cleo wants him back, she'll have to show herself.
Leave this place, O little Oceanid, and never, ever look back!
Everyone's really throwing themselves into their roles. I haven't seen such a fine performance in a long time. If only...
What should we do? It's almost time for her to take the stage!
Why? Why does it have to be now?
Hey, what's going on? You're due on stage any second now. Oh no, not again. But why? What about your new meds? Did they stop
不出意
working?
外要出意外了。
They've been getting less and less effective over time. I've had to keep increasing my dose.
What? I thought they cure it. So they were only managing your symptoms?
I figured whatever it took to get me through this final performance.
How could you do this to yourself? And after that lecture you gave me about not looking after my health.
I'm sorry. I've let everyone down.
You... This is a conversation for another time. How can the show go on without its star performer?
Miss Farina, I'd like to make a request of you.
Say no more. If you're sick, you need to rest. I know what you're going to ask. Loic, your character has no more scenes, correct?
Oh, yeah. I think my scenes are all done. Although, I do have one more line. But I guess another guy in the troupe with a similar voice register could take it. Why?
Please take Delphi back to her place to rest. I'll sing the
我不要唱
finale.
歌了。
From the sublime to the ridiculous. After all that, everything's come full circle.
Thank you, Miss Farina. I'm so sorry to put you in this
精彩的
position
要来
after
了。
everything you said.
Never mind. What's done is done. It's really my own fault for getting in too deep. No one likes regrets, myself included. Leave it to me. I've watched you rehearse so many times that I've learned Cleo's part by heart.
等一下哦。好。
I do not doubt your acting skills, but please allow me to ask just one more question. After all, This show is dedicated to the life and legacy of our director. What, in your opinion, is the reason Cleo shines so brightly?
It's her pure heart. Despite all the pain and loneliness she had to endure, she never once stopped believing in the beauty in this world.
Well said. I leave Director O'Reilly in your hands.
Is she here yet?
Will she get here?
She's not coming!
You're wrong. She's here.
Si je pouvais vivre dans l'eau, le monde serait-il plus beau? Me pardonneras-tu, ô chère mère? L'eau dans son courant fait danser nos vies, et la cité elle nourrit, ainsi que toi mon doux amour.
But what about your wish?
My wish.
If you become human, you can reveal your secret to no one. You will face suffering and loneliness. Is this truly what you want?
Le grand amour ne suffit pas, seul un adieu fleurira. C'est notre histoire de vie, douce et amère. Moi, je serai toujours là, à voir le monde et sa beauté, et ça ne changera jamais, jamais.
Is it just me? Or was that Lady Farina on the stage just now?
She hasn't been seen for a while now, and she just appears out of nowhere? Gotta say, though, her acting skills are as superb as ever.
The little Oceanid, Cleo, played by Aurélie Fumont.
Ski, ski, daisuki.
Wait, that's not her name. What's going on?
I don't know. Maybe it's just a doppelganger.
I've spent a lot of time out of the spotlight, and they didn't use my name during the curtain call either. Hopefully, not too many people recognized me. It's too bad that I had to break the one clear rule I'd managed to make for myself, even if I had no choice. Still, I have to admit that, despite everything, it felt good to be back on the stage again.
Finally, we would like to give a special thanks to our artistic consultant and event coordinator, Miss Farina.
That's not what we agreed on.
Oh, so it was Farina after all.
She's back.
他还是很期待他回来的吧？
Honestly, what is he doing? He should have run that by me first.
All right, calm down. Don't be mad. This was a group decision. We just didn't want your contributions to go
刚刚那段真的
unacknowledged.
超美的。大家
After
晚
all,
安。
it's been the rule in Fontaine since ancient times that everyone's work, visible or invisible, is equally deserving of recognition.
Yes, I know the rule, but it should still be applied on a case-by-case basis. I wasn't ready for this yet.
It's no big deal. What's the worst that could happen?
其实顶多等一下是要被人要签名。
Oh, yeah? Well, since you think it's so easy, you can sign them for me.
This is a great chat and all, but can we talk about that crazy thing that happened during the show? Paimon flew over to where she was supposed to be and was about to drop the prop vision, and then suddenly, a real one popped
道
out of
具
thin air!
突然出现真货哎。
That... I've got no idea what happened there either. But hey, it worked pretty well, didn't it? I'll bet the audience has never seen such a realistic prop.
为什么突然间神之眼下
Wait,
来？
what about Dolphy? I wonder how she's doing.
Oh, let's go check on her as soon as we finish clearing the stage.
Yes. Plus, she'll definitely want to hear how the end of the show went. If nothing else, we can safely say that we accomplished what we set out to do.
为什么神之眼会突然降临？
Take it easy.
福福，大福福，这里的福福是短发。有一瞬间被上面关注时，神之眼就会被诞生。他被关注到了。哎哎，走那么远，看靠，原来在很远的地方。 回到那个小剧团，好，喝水。被淋漓的传说任务卡烂，你是不是
You're
也
back.
跟我一样接一大堆任务的？
She's doing okay. Her condition stabilized after taking some of her original medication. From experience, though, I'd say she still needs a few more days of rest.
How did the performance go? Was it a success? Did the audience like it?
You'll be glad to know it was fantastic! Also, you're not gonna believe what happened while Farina was on the stage. You'll probably be able to read all about it in the Steambird first thing tomorrow morning.
That's wonderful. I'm so sorry I failed to see it through to the end. I guess I was wrong to try and tough it out to begin with.
No, don't worry about it. Like they told me after announcing my name during the curtain call, everyone's work deserves recognition. Even though you couldn't see it through to the final scene, the audience was very impressed by your performance.
Well, one way or another, we did it. I've had bad luck ever since I was born, so I never expect things to go smoothly in life. I'm just happy to know that we went out on a high note. That's all that matters.
Blaming your bad luck again, are we? Maybe if you didn't push yourself past your limits so much, your illness wouldn't be flaring up all the time.
Oh, don't you start. I don't have the energy to argue with you right now.
Aw, you two clearly care a lot about each other.
I don't know what you're talking about.
啊，又在嘴
You
硬。
mean we never stop arguing with each other?
打情骂俏。
So, any plans for the next step? After the brilliant performance you put on, the reputation of your troupe is sure to spread through Fontaine like wildfire. You won't have to disband if you don't want to. You could capitalize on the rave reviews and license out the Little Oceanid to the bigger theater troops out there. That would do wonders for your financial situation.
No, we should still disband.
Yeah, it's what we all agreed to.
After all that's happened, I should give you guys some space. But maybe our paths will cross again one day.
Hey, don't just walk off!
I still want to keep performing, so I might join another troupe. After watching Miss Farina's performance, I think I'm starting to understand our director's infatuation with musicals.
You should do it. It suits you. I'd originally hoped to keep performing too, but I don't know if my health will allow me to.
Oh, so now you finally got your priorities in order. I guess I'll hold off until you've properly recovered as well. What about you, Miss Farina? Any future plans?
Well, frankly, I think a return to obscurity is no longer an option for me. I'm sure a slew of consultancy requests will hound me wherever I go, until I finally acquiesce. You rather sealed my fate there with your special thanks at the end of the show.
Sorry.
It's quite all right. No need to apologize. What I meant to say is that this whole experience has shown me that perhaps I'm not as averse to a return to the stage as I'd previously imagined. Maybe Nervilette was right. Maybe Cleo is the right role for me. I still don't wish to pretend to be someone else, but I do have a desire to express myself. So, yeah. There was once a time when I was an actress in a masquerade, seeking only to hide the truth. But from now on, I want to spend my time learning real stories about real people and how they touch the lives of others around them. I want to watch them blossom and wither, see them refined on the page, retold on the stage, and remembered long into the future. I'm sure this is what captivated director O'Reilly as well.
Sounds like you're ready to stop running from your true calling. The more you get out into the world, the more you'll discover what a fascinating place it is.
Then it's a deal. If a vision is a gift from the gods, then I should do my best to honor it.
啦，为什么跑那么慢？因为我是按自动播放慢慢播啊。
I'm just finishing packing up. As soon as I'm done, I've got an interview with the
马
Steam
上
Bird
记
to
者
get
就来
to.
采访了吗？
Thanks to all your help, this show was more perfect than we ever could have hoped for. But most of all, I want to thank you for giving me the chance to finally say farewell.
I mean, of course I have some.
There'll be plenty of opportunities in the future for us to tell the stories that we want on stage.
Now that the buzz is worn off,
It's ironic to think that in my whole time as a god, I could only ever dream of receiving this kind of power. And now that the gods have given me their blessing, it actually feels more like I'm finally able to take my fate in my own hands. Is that how humans feel about it as well?
神乐版，谢谢神乐版已经订阅11个月，恭喜！不止今天冲主线就被小任务卡烂，我没事，我今天跑主线也被一个世界任务给卡到，可恶！然后刚刚做传说任务又被那个 该死的没任务卡到，气死我了。嗯，还有7天，还没开完吧？等开完再来打。啦，差不多了，今天就差不多了。哦，对吼，我把主线都跑完了，应该什么好友有人加有人加好友吗？这谁？这谁？哇靠！这个成就数，这成就数有点惊人哎！哦，这谁？这谁？出来认领一下，出来认领一下。你没有讲你是谁的话，我是不会加好友的哦。嗯，谢谢菜鸡先生的100点小起点，谢谢，感谢你。有没有兴趣去女神歌火逛逛？等一下，这位是谁？有没有？可不可以出来跟我打声招呼？嘎达一安安 ，Hello， 晚上好。我要去一个我之前探索的有一个地方，我没有去。啊，我现在应该可以进去吧？等一下在哪里？看是哪里？我有个地方探索到一半，然后因为我卡了一个地方，导致我没办法。有个地方我没办法拿那个神童。等一下在哪里？在哪里？是谁啊？看谁？奇怪，到底在哪里？我忘记是哪里了。有一个地方，看一下，有一个，我那时候还说我做完主线要回去。那个遗迹呢？有一个遗迹的入口。这个我忘记要怎么进去了。但刚刚那个成就数好猛哦！这要怎么进去啊？等一下，我想一下，为什么看不到？我从这里过去看看，因为有一个那个地方我已经探索差不多，就是差一颗神童拿不到。那从这里进去吗
？Take it easy。
我那时候一个人在跑探索的时候，可是我记得不在这边。应该是从这里下去，从这里面的水洞进去。记得好像哪个入口啊？我已经快忘了，我忘了我上次怎么进去的。是这个吗？天哪，我忘记是哪里了。我记得我有标点，然后我标了一标都忘记在哪里了。是这个啊？靠北有这个啦！哎呦，啊，搞错了，不是那个。我标一标都忘记了，我标的很乱。这里啦，这个啦。因为那时候我其实那时候有求救，但是有人说有可能是我主线没有跑完的关系，所以我没办法通过。那我现在可以了吗？试试看，我现在试试看，我现在主线跑完了，可以了吗？就这里啦。不行啊，不行啊！奇怪，我还是不能进镜子啊！等一下，到底是哪里有问题？我主线都跑完了，我镜子还是不能进去欸。就这颗啊，我就是要拿这颗啊。但是我问到的人说他是从镜子这边过去的啊，因为我那时候主线还没有 跑，所以就在猜是不是可能主线没跑的关系。你拿了，那你怎么拿的？奇怪，为什么我拿不到？要去找画，他会带我 TP， 要找画啊！哦，我想说，奇怪，找画在这里面吗？这边有洞可以下来，靠背不能上去哦。本色的镜子可以进去，本色的，所以我要去找另外一面镜子，是不是？都在这个遗迹里面吗？这里有很多的镜子，所以我要仔细看镜子在哪。镜子，好，我找一下。这是破掉的镜子，它没有，它是一个没有画面的画。在这遗迹里面，这东西这不能进去。镜子，这都不是啊。在这个遗迹里，其实我绕这边绕了很久还是下面镜子。记得很简单就拿到了，奇怪，但是我一直找不到镜子，我只有看到上面那边的镜子可是在这中间有吗？这边也看不到啊。外面有吗？看一下。我有猜到要从那个镜子进去，但是我现在就是不知道是哪一个镜子。还是这后面还有镜子？因为那个镜子我过不去啊。这边看起来像画框的东西只有这个，但它里面都是空的。还是这个下面有吗？普通出彩，你抽什么？ 啊！我要做4.1任务，下落地拉语书。哦，所以是我任务没做哦，所以跟我主线没做无关，是我任务没做。哇！结果是我任务没做的关系。好哦，我其实有在猜想我是不是卡了什么任务没有做，所以我才我没办法进镜。然后亚兰，感谢亚兰爸爸赠送一份订阅给嘎嘎E。我看一下，4.1的，我是没有去接啊，揭示之书。嗯，结果原来是任务还没做，好吧，好吧，我知道了，揭示之书，那我到时候再查查。结果不是我主线没做，不是主线没做完，是因为我支线没做完。OK， 感谢木子，谢谢木子。这边不能上去哦，它看起来好像可以出去哎，可恶，我好想要越狱哦，我好想越狱哦，是不是可以出去啊？可恶，可恶，我想试试看。看到那边有个洞，就有点好奇，能不能出去？我试试。
What do you want?
嗨。啊，爬不到，干，可恶，干。美露星系列的哦，那可能还没有做完，因为美露星我好像还有一部分还没做完。好吧，好吧，没关系。OK。
Want me to come along?
那就是天花板加灯，好，所以没办法出去。可恶，可恶，我想要越狱，我想要越狱呀！看到可以越狱的机会，上不去。要帮忙村子所有的美露星，那我好像还没做完呢。好吧，我要继续跟这个神童说，我们下次见。结果不是因为这样子，我想说什么？为什么人家跟我说啊，走这个进去就好了？我想说，因为我唯一看到这边唯一能过去拿那颗水神童的感觉，就只有这个镜子很可疑，可以走，但是我就是进不去。你昨天才开啊？啊，原来如此，原来如此，有一堆隐藏树叶要找哦。好吧，看来这个神童我不知道什么时候才可以拿到呢。算了，好啦，那谢谢各位今天陪我一起观看的那个4.2的主线任务以及福福的传说任务，谢谢你们陪我一同观看。那我今天直播就差不多到这里啦，谢谢各位，那差不多该休息了，现在已经2点15分了，明天不是明天，今天早上还要上班上课，祝大家有个好梦，早点休息，晚安晚安。要去你家多拍几张吗？拍照吗？你要拍照吗？拍照的话，我想用那个G 什么来玩，因为我现在是用我的电脑的那个。用我电脑的那个原神主程式在玩的，拍冰雕靠背哦，靠背。哎、那个谁，刚刚查米想说他要剪那一段剪辑，我等一下把他要把剪辑丢到 DC 吗？他要把剪辑丢到 DC 吗？没有哦。啊，有哎、查米上有贴干那个。干那个真超好笑，那真超好笑！刚刚真的是让我笑超久的。冰雕万叶， 飞天平台晚夜，recall 安安 recall。啊，不过你来的真不是时候，我要准备关台了，准备关台。那差不多到这里啦，谢谢，感谢各位。什么拍钟离家、严主家、审判长没有啦？那个照片就拍一大堆好吗？去海默村瀑布找下一个的美露星，我知道那边有，但我还没有接。我还有很多支线任务还没接，你们光看看，你们看看，一堆呀、而且我确实，我这边，我忘记是这里呀、这底下吧。我忘记是，等一下我看一下，好像是这一带吧。这一带，反正这一带我记得还有美露星的任务我还没有做。接任务做完神童就可以拿神童了。好的，好的，感谢木池提供的情报，谢谢，我真的在那边绕超级久，结果是任务没做。OK， 好，谢谢木池，好，各位晚安，早点休息，祝各位有个好梦，晚安，拜拜。然后我的体力满了，我等下来去打符素材了，拜拜。木子晚安，菜鸡先生晚安，瑞克晚安 ，Taxi Driver 晚安 ，KG 晚安。梦幻豆晚安，18晚安，我猜哪里我猜？好了，确实猜。好，气达晚安，你赶快睡觉啊！你赶快睡觉啊，气达，读书加油。一堆晚安，雅兰爸爸晚安。刚好你今天做完那神童那个鱼姬的任务，我顺便接了神童。OK， 谢谢木池提供有力的情报。木池晚安，晚安。日课我猜，真的我猜了。好了，拜拜。今天有谁想要推荐降落的地点啊？3000忠诚点数可以当一日导游，有没有人愿意？龙猫晚安，祝好梦。我知道，雅爸爸你没点数了，你刚刚全换完了。感谢你，谢谢雅爸爸换掉了最后一份忠诚点数奖励的限定周边，都可以吗？你只要能够拿出3000点忠诚点数，然后叫我揪，我就揪 ，OK。3000块也太贵了吧？周团由你决定。你什么袅袅君是吗？神乐版说要去找袅袅君，我来看一下袅袅君。好的，这是什么？他在打瓦罗兰是不是？好，我们去找他。他今天是实况盟友周年纪念日。哦，去找袅袅君。大家记得注意对方太贵哦，人家今天是实况盟友周年纪念日，可以顺便祝福他一下啊！准备出发去找袅袅君，他正在打瓦罗兰。那今天就先到这里啦，感谢各位，晚安。好，今天神乐版做我们的一日导游，要去找袅袅君，准备出发。好的，谢谢木池的祝福，谢谢。准备出发去找袅袅君喽！么么酱，安安，哇，么么酱，我要准备下播哎，ごめんなさい，下次再一起聊。我要准备出发揪团了。准备出发喽！おやすみ。好，么么酱晚安，祝好梦，拜拜。